Welcome. Let me show you how I use scrap metal to make this wall-mounted pillar drill stand that swings out. Project at hand today is to fit the pillar drill onto the wall, but because of the pillar drill being quite long, we want to have it so that it hinges back towards the wall so that you can still get a vehicle in here. I made the stand for the sander earlier, and it consists of just junk metal that we found in the scrap pile. It's primarily concrete form clamps. They've been corroded for years and years and years. They have a really nice character to them. So I was thinking of making the drill stand out of that. And because of the nature of these blocks, they are hollow inside. So if you want to attach something to the block, then you will need to reinforce the block, typically by filling it with concrete. So I'm going to try to avoid that and try to use only the seams. So the idea I have is that I'll make like an ivy type attachment so that it crawls up the wall. So let's see what happens and see how it goes. I have no idea where this is going to lead. This is going to be purely bish bash bosh, hopefully, and organic. So let's see what happens. Okay, here we are at the scrap pile. Tons of very rusty metal here. The concrete form clamps, or whatever they're called, they have these, they're basically a very thick flat bar of metal. We can probably see that they have rust to a very high degree, but they have these very nice hooks on them. And I was hoping that I could use the hooks to create a bit of a organic pattern on the wall. So yeah, so this is what I'm looking to work with. I should probably have a quick walk around the forest to see how the ivy is climbing up the tree, so I could kind of mimic that one. If I only had some forest somewhere. Oh yeah. The first thing I had to do was to figure out a few dimensions, thinking. That's the difficult bit. Once I had a vague idea of what I was going to build, I found a piece of metal and I started making what I would call the backbone of the drill stand. The backbone consists of one upright and two sticky out bits. Here you can see me drilling the holes in the uprights and the sticky out bits. I start with center punching and then a pilot hole and then full 6mm hole for it. The holes on the upright needs to be at the seams of the bricks. I welded the sticky out bits to the backbone and then I ground down the welds. With the backbone cross-welded, I could use it as a template to drill temporary holes in the wall and then start fitting out the organic shapes of the arms. The process was roughly that I found a piece of metal that I liked the shape of, and then I started shaping it to fit the stand and the wall. I then drilled a hole at the end where I wanted it attached to the wall. Then I went back to the wall with it and drilled a hole there, put a temporary bolt in, and then I made a mark where I needed to cut off the excess. Then once that was cut, I tack welded it onto the main part of the stand. I kept repeating this process until I had this organic shape that was kind of climbing up the wall. I'm using the angle grinder with a grinding disc on it, and as you can see, it gets rid of a lot of the rust, and that rust dust gets absolutely everywhere. So my tip to you is that don't do this 15 minutes before you need to leave for the opera. So you saw me make this. It's not complete. These are there as a starting point. There's no reinforcements here because I don't know what's going to happen below this. This is the level where the table is going to come out and swing to the side. So off camera I've made this. The 4 holes here are for the drill, and it is now going to be fastened somewhat like this. Off camera I made the lower pivot point. So now I have the upper and lower pivot point, and I'm basically just trying to attach them to the mount on the wall. Once they are mounted there, I can now then try to make it stronger so that it will hold the drill.
The drill stand is being mounted to the wall using 6mm screws, which means that the holes in the metal are also the same size. During the fabricobbling process, York has already drilled holes into the wall in the correct location using a 6mm masonry bit. Some of the holes were drilled using the steel as a template, and some of the holes were drilled first to determine where to position the steel. I'm now enlarging the holes to 10mm to accept a plastic plug.
At this stage we have a functional form. I know this is going to work, so it's now time to fully weld all the tack welds. This is all very organic. I see a tack weld, I fully weld it. I see an unground weld, I ground it. And once this is all done, we can move to the next step. The drill table is obviously very flimsy at this stage, so I'm adding some more strength to it, keeping in mind the all-important triangulation, and the philosophy is basically connect one load bearing point with a load. Just look at all that dust and rust flying all over the place. I think it goes without saying that a face mask, eye protection and hearing protection are a given. But I'd also recommend a really hot bath after any work like this. And as this is organic engineering, it's time for another trial fit. We'll lift up the pillar drill here, thanks to Cats for the help, and see how things work and what the next steps are. Turns out one of the next steps is to do more welding. When all that welding's done, I need to start figuring out where the actual table is going to hinge out to. What's going to stop it, what's going to meet it. So here I'm trying to get the second part of the, well, the top done, whatever you want to call it. And now when we know where the loads are going to be, we can add some more of those nice organic supports to the whole thingy. And you know the drill by now. That's not the pillar drill, just the procedure, I mean. It's time for another test fit, and yes, I did sit on it, which means that it'll carry at least twice the amount of load that it is supposed to be carrying. But yeah, it looks good, and it's not finished, but so far the progress has been pretty good. So several days later, and we're back on this project, and today I want to finish it off. Last time I worked on it, we finished the basic structure of it. That means that it is now holding the drill, as you can see. There was a few things that I knew wasn't going to be done, and one of them is that there's no latch in any of the positions. So I don't think I need a latch to keep it along the wall, but I do want a latch or some mechanism to make sure that it stays straight out when it's in use. I deliberately stopped working with that part undone because I knew that I wanted to do that one with a fresh head and with energy and all of that stuff. To do something like that when you're fatigued, end of the day, you're just gonna end up with a rubbish idea, a rubbish end result. So I knew I needed to make a latch. So today's project includes making a latch here. As you can see, I put a screwdriver in there with a clamp on top. That means that this point is now rigid, which is good because I'm now going to make a shim that goes underneath, and then I'm going to make a latch somehow to keep it in this position. And I want this to be tight. I don't want any flex in that part. However, after we put the pillar drill on the stand, we noticed that it's not very stable in one direction. It is surprisingly steady up and down. There's virtually no movement when you push your weight down on here. But I subscribe to the theory of don't fix stuff that you don't know for sure is a problem. So don't fix stuff that isn't broken, or don't assume that you have a fix in mind. So one of the things that we noticed was that if I move it side to side, there is flex here. And I now need to remove some of that flex. Not because it's going to break, but just because I'd be annoyed at having that flex. So I'm going to remove that as part of this today's project work thingy. There is flex on the side, and I deliberately made this frame as flimsy as possible. There could have been a chance that it would have worked and I wouldn't have had to add anything more to it. But as it stands, I kind of knew that it would need some way, because that is rigid enough as it is. So I'm pleased with that, but I kind of knew that it looked a little bit flimsy, and I kind of knew that it might need more work, and it does, so this is not a surprise to me. So one step at a time, and trying to just add material where it's actually needed. So it needs to be in compression or in tension. That's the intention anyway. Okay, let's do some fabric opening. There you go, bit of a slot thingy for the tray to go into. It seems pretty sturdy. I'm pretty happy with that. So I guess the next thing to do is to make sure it locks in there. It does seem quite strong at the moment, so I don't really know how much of a lock is needed for that to stay in there, but yeah, it's not too bad, not too bad. So I'll probably make something over here, so I can just weld it onto there, but we'll see. Yeah, that's next. Okay, take two. So here's the handle. It's nothing fancy pants. This is a bend, just like one of those bends, like those down there. So hopefully it'll work something like this. There you go. It's now locked. You can push it down a bit if you want, but it doesn't seem to go at the moment. But there we go. It is now locked in place. Yeah, that's it. Pull it up, put it down, put it aside. You can leave it down because it'll just lock into that. So there's no damage whether it's up or down. Time to Dewobblify this thing. I was looking for some scrap, and I found some round bars that I thought would be perfect, but then I stumbled across nails. I just chopped the heads off, and so this is now the only new product on here, except for the bolts, obviously, that I've been using. So I'm basically just gonna hot glue gun them here with the metal hot glue gun stick, and see what happens. I had obviously hoped that this would be much more scientifically thingy, but you know what? If it works, it works. So that's what I'm going to do now. So let's see where this ends up. So there we have it, a legless pillar drill stand from scrap, and I think it works quite well. It's sturdy enough, so simply pull it out, locks in place, can't push it back, it's got enough weight there, no problem. Got most of the side to side wobble eliminated, put it back, lift the handle, push it back. There we go. There's some cord management thingies here and loads of triangulation. Maybe went a little bit overboard on that bit, but yeah, there's loads of triangulation. Easy peasy. That's it. But thanks for watching. I need a bath. Thanks for watching. I need a bath. You know what, crazy Kaz? I don't think I can finish this video like this. There's still some stuff to do.
Off to the Empire of Dirt then.
Good choice. I really thought this project was done, but I came to the conclusion that there's a few details that I need to make for myself to make sure that this is done. Done. One of my small annoyances is that it goes really nicely that way, but when I do this, it kind of bounces around and goes all over the place, and it's completely, you know, chaos, chaos, chaos. So I'd like to add a spring there to make sure that it's pulled nicely against the wall. Another thing I want to add is I want to have a hook or a place for a brush, so I can brush off all the swarf and dirt from the pieces I've been drilling on. And another one is I want to add this little glass jar with a brush screwed into the lid. I want to have that somewhere here, and I want to have a little bit of oil in there so I can brush on a little bit of oil on the drill or the piece that I'm going to be working on. However, the biggest thing is that I'd like to store my drills here. I now keep them over there, and every time I need another drill I have to walk between them, and you know, it's like 4 or 5 steps, and this is just unacceptable time waste. So one more day please, sir. Famous last words. Anyway, enough waffling, let's get on with it. Let's see if we can find a spring. Maybe one of those. Let's try that one out. be a bit stronger. Still not pulling it all the way. Okay, he's sort of pulling it. Let's try. A little more. Oh. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. But obviously if I want to have the box here, I can't have this one on there. So it probably has to go on the underside there. There. Think I've got that one. Let's do some welding. Zip, zip, zip. It looks like most of it will fit this way, so I don't have to make a super wide or long box, but this one doesn't, so maybe I need to dimension it for this auger bit, or maybe I should just hide this away somewhere so things will look good on YouTube. Let me first start off by apologizing to all the woodworkers about this section. This box needed to be done. Time was a big factor. The requirements was for a box that holds stuff and has got a lid. So I just made this as quickly as I could. Butt joints, glues, screws, and yeah, okay, the fancy bits is that I countersunk the screws. So hey, go easy on me, please. Inside the box I put 2 dividers in so that things would be a little bit divided and not mix too much. In the end, the box turned out very sturdy, and yes, it's got a lid and it contains drill bits and stuff, so it's functional. That's it. Oh, look, a hastily made plywood box. Yay!
I've tapped 4 holes into the drill stand to mount the box. Here's a little tip for you. To help with location, I first of all fitted 2 screws in from the underside. You can see me here screwing in the 2 bolts from the top at the rear of the box, before removing the 2 bolts at the front and then refitting them from the correct side. Since this was a really organic build, once we had it all fitted and tightened up, the box lid wasn't super level, so we fitted a shim in afterwards to level it all up. I gave the box a quick sand over before using an old rag to apply a copious amount of Danish oil. We just let it sit there for a bit before wiping the excess off. We like Danish oil because it provides a bit of a durable coating and protection against the dust and dirt, and gives just a general finished look to the box.
And then it was time to fill the box with all my stuff, and I'm pretty certain that if I just leave it there, things will organize itself over time. We mounted the oil can here on the side. Should be easy to use and access, so you can lubricate the drill and keep it cool. And then we added the brush here so that we can brush off any dirt, swarf from the drilling. I think we can call it done, at least for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Drill goes out, drill goes in, drill goes out, drill goes in. Honey. No, it's not.